Hey guys, and welcome back to another great episode of Pardon Our Honesty, where Megan always makes us talk about stuff that we really don't want to talk about. Maybe it's just me. I'm Tiffany,
I'm Megan.
and today we are talking about conflict, grudges, and friendships, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
We started talking ahead of time and it kind of turned into multiple things. So I think we're just going to explore both topics. So let's talk about grudges. And maybe grudges isn't the best word, but let's just say you're holding a grudge against somebody. Let's just start with a parent, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Your kids might have some kind of issue or whatever, and they're holding this resentment or anger or grudge.
Yeah.
How long do you hold on to that for?
I would say that it depends. It depends on the relationship. Has there been any effort to reconcile or say, I'm sorry? Has there been an effort to make amends, to acknowledge your hurt? And while I can't do anything about it, I hear what you're saying and I apologize for my actions. So I would say you should not hold a grudge, period. But if you are going to hold a grudge, you need to be working towards sharing that thought with the person who offended you and figuring it out. And I think 30 days should be a good time frame to kind of say, hey, you did this to me and it pissed me off. If you're a kid, I don't know. Because maybe you don't have the mental capacity to recognize you shouldn't hold grudges.
Right. But like, let's say an offense happened to you as a child. So, like, we both have adult children. So, let's say our adult children have something, an offense against one of the parents, me, you, Nick, Edward, whatever. And maybe it's valid. Maybe some bad stuff happened in their childhood. Maybe they're just upset, or maybe they saw something, whatever it might be. At what point do you let that go or work through it versus hold on to that for the rest of your life that my mom, my dad, my step parent, whoever did this one thing? Now I understand it could be traumatic and it can be bad, or it could not be that excessive. I mean, it could be bad to them, but it wasn't physical or sexual harm, or, there's a range of things.
Yeah.
But at what point do we say, yes, this offended me, I tell you about it, we work through it, we talk about it, and we move on from it instead of just living in it and never letting it go, never giving the person the opportunity to, apologize and move forward? At what point is enough? Or is there not a point? Are you allowed to hold on to that, or you could hold on to that the rest of your life just because?
So you're allowed to hold on to it because it's your choice. Nobody's going to make you say, unless, you are really spiritual, religious, and believe, okay, if I hold on to this ought against somebody, then I can't be forgiven for the things that I do wrong. But you have the choice to whether or not you're going to hold on to it, you're going to confront the person, or you're going to deal with it maybe in a therapy setting or something like that. I feel that you should deal with it as soon as it happens because it's going to start affecting you. It's going to start affecting that relationship. It's going to affect, what gatherings, if that person is going to be there with the family. It's just going to change the dynamic of the relationship. And what if that person doesn't even know that they offended you?
Or how? Yeah.
And so they don't even know, oh, shoot, I did something wrong. Let me say I'm sorry. Or if they have come to you and said, hey, I know I wasn't the best person in your life. I'm sorry. That is your opportunity to say what they did wrong to you. So if you don't want to deal with it, then it's hurting you because that person is still going to go on with their life, especially if they don't know. So,
Right.
like, what is the point of holding on to it? Traumatic issues, I understand. Okay, sometimes your mind has to get to a point, you have to mature to a point that you want to deal with.
To be okay to deal with.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's not traumatic and it's just, oh, I don't like what you said to me. I mean, come on now. How many other people in your life are you letting slide with that? But you're going to hold this
to a standard that's unattainable, even though you do this to other people and other people do it to you regularly.
So that's the part that pisses me off. Are you serious? You're mad at me, but I see you over here with your little friends and the other people in your life, and they do the same
that
shit.
way or worse.
Yeah, they do the same shit, but you forgive them.
Yeah.
You're good with them.
Yeah.
But I got to do some kind of alms and do some kind of, what,
Yeah.
recoupment or give you something or bow down to you just so I can give.
Yeah.
That's not fair. And you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't have to do that. I do think that, like, if you have issues, you got to address it and like talk and work through it. But at some point, you have to be willing to let it go. Now, I'm not saying forget it.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying you have to necessarily forgive, even though we should forgive,
Yeah.
but you've got to be able to at least move past it, and say, okay, this was 10, 20 years ago. You made mistakes. I get you did the best you thought you could. It still hurt me or whatever,
Yeah.
and move on. So, but I feel like with kids in our personal relationship, I think they'd rather hold on and have a story or have an anger that, X person sucks and they didn't do this and they didn't do that, even though they could spend every single day trying to make up
Yeah.
for it. They're not willing to have that conversation, talk, and then move through that, seeing that this is a different person from 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, because as you're growing and evolving, that person is also growing and evolving. The other problem I have with, especially with the parents, is okay, you don't want to have anything to do with me because I did this ought to you, even though I may have apologized or I may not know. Then if you don't want to deal with me, that means everything, in my opinion. You don't want my money, you don't want my time, you don't want to deal with me. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have it where, okay, I just want to be this subsurface relationship with you, but I also want you to help me and give me
Every time I need help. Yeah. Yeah.
somebody make it make sense because it does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't agree with that because to me that's
Maybe
you're
they think
using
it's a
the person.
leverage. Maybe they think it's a leverage. Like, yeah, not to use you, but like, well, you did this to me, so you should give me this. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm
Because
sure that
we have
is
some that don't
true.
talk to us at all. So, I mean, at all. And I would only assume I know some of them just don't want to hear what we have to say because
Yeah.
we were those people always saying, you got to work, you got to save money. Yeah. And maybe due to past harms, they don't want to hear any good advice you have
Yeah.
to give now. So it's just like keep you as far away as possible. But I don't know how that benefits them.
I don't either.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are some relationships that are meant to not be mended and some people not to have their parents in their life. I can understand that.
Yeah.
But in the most, general speaking, I feel like how would you benefit from not having your parent in your life if they were not a completely first off, they could have been completely unhealthy, but if they have proven to have changed or proven to have done the work to change, why not give that opportunity? I don't know. It's hard for me. And I hold a grudge. I mean, like, I don't know if it's a grudge, but like as the years have gone on, I've seen changes in my own mother and like some things really bother me. And I've expressed those
Yeah.
concerns. Now, I don't think she's changed some of those, but it hasn't affected me. I'm not as close to her, but I do have a decent relationship. But do I kind of hold a grudge? Yeah, I kind of do because there are things that I just think aren't right. But I don't cut it off completely and say I'm
Okay,
never going to
so
talk.
that would be a question I would have. Okay, so yes, you can have some feelings that say, okay, I don't like how you did that, and that's fine, and you've expressed it, and some parents or some people in your life are just not going to be able to accept what you said
Right, for
hurt
sure.
them.
I'm crazy.
But
Yeah.
how do you still maintain a relationship with her, even though
I'm
those things?
respectful because she's my parent. She's my mother. She didn't physically harm me in
Yeah.
any way. And, I love her. But I feel like the older you get, you learn your own boundaries
Okay.
and what I'm okay. How much of myself am I willing to give and how much am I not? And with this, I have a boundary that is, I love you. And if you need me, I'll be there for you. But our closeness is not like what it was. That, especially if I've expressed a concern to you and you've dismissed it. So I feel like that if that would have been handled differently, I think the relationship would be different.
Okay.
But when you're dismissed, then I feel like, no, that's not.
So is it really holding a grudge or is it setting healthy boundaries that, okay, I know this is this person. I understand them. I respect them for who they are and how they're going to be.
Okay.
So I'm going
I need
to,
to look up the meaning of grudge.
I'm going
I feel like I have a grudge, but
I'm only going to deal with this person on this level. I don't necessarily feel that that's holding a grudge. You're just smart enough to realize.
but the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm upset by something, which to me is like that's holding a grudge. Like I'm not getting over this thing that bothers me. So I feel like I'm holding a grudge because, like, if I got over it, I wouldn't have to have these boundaries in place.
No, I think sometimes you still
So, a
feel
persistent feeling of ill will or resentment resulting from a past insult or injury. To be resentfully unwilling to give, grant, or allow. So, what does holding a strong feeling of anger and dislike for a person who you feel has treated you badly, especially one that lasts for a long time? So, I feel like I have a grudge.
grudge. Because okay, a grudge is like I don't know. I feel like that is
I feel like
you,
it's something that hurts your feelings and you're not letting the shit go. So, I'm holding a grudge against you.
but you went to the person,
Yeah.
you said how you felt.
I didn't get an answer I wanted or even an acknowledgement. So now I'm holding a grudge. Like I'm mad.
I don't know. I still think that's also holding healthy boundaries because you already know what to expect from that person.
So you think it's more of a grudge if you haven't addressed the person
I think so.
directly and the
Yes.
person hasn't given the ability to fix it.
Yes, that's when I would say it's a grudge.
Yeah.
And in that, like you're saying, you're the one that's stewing and hurting because they don't even know and they've gone on with their lives. And what if they knew and they did say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I really didn't know
Okay, but
that
if they
offended
do
you."
that and the other person doesn't get over it still, then what? It's still a grudge.
It's still a grudge then, but
Even though they said, "You're right, I did wrong, I'm sorry, I'm a better person now, I will work every day to fix it," and that person's like, "Nah, I just wanna be angry at you." So then that's a grudge because you've been hurt and you won't let it go, even though they've apologized.
yeah.
I
I
guess that's
guess,
what I'm
yeah. And I think about in my own family, there are grudges I have for my biological parent, my biological parent siblings, because I feel they knew or could see the signs of the trauma and the abuse that my sister and I were going through. And then a grudge against my father and his family because I feel like they should have known and done something as well. But, as I'm maturing and getting older and dealing with my shit, I do realize and have to think, okay, well, what if they didn't know? How can you hold a grudge against them and they had no freaking
yeah.
clue? That's not fair because you wouldn't want anybody to do that to you. And so I think it's part
That's
self reflection and maturing
yeah.
to realize, people can make mistakes. You can hold stuff against them that doesn't even fit or should be held against them. And so, in being a better person and trying to have relationships, you do have to let the shit
Yeah.
go.
But I've been reading these articles where parents are canceling their kids and kids are canceling their parents. And it's interesting to me because I feel like there's a difference between like a parent who tried to parent and maybe a parent who failed, but
Mhm.
it feels now like when we just don't get along.
Just cancel each other.
Yeah, we just have a grudge. We're mad at you. We don't get along. We have different opinions, maybe. It's like parents are like, and kids are like, I'm done with my parents. They grounded me. Like, I feel like, so I think it's like, you're right. The person has to know, number one, because if you're just upset because you got grounded as a child, I'm sorry. I don't even think I would apologize for that. I was trying to put structure and, you know what I mean? If I abused you is a totally different
Yeah.
level. And I think that, where's the grudge coming from? Like, I think even in friendships, people have one little thing that goes wrong. And now there's this big grudge we're holding against each other. Either I didn't like you hanging out with your boyfriend and we were supposed to be by ourselves, or you didn't answer my call, whatever it is. And then there's this silent little grudge thing growing. I mean, we see that like, I guess it's for me as like conflict resolution. Like why?
Yes.
Yeah.
Conflict resolution. I was thinking about that last night. When do we get taught how to do that?
You don't? I mean, I think it's by what you witnessed.
By what you witnessed, or maybe you learn a little bit in the elementary school. Don't quite reach
Maybe.
your,
Yeah. But you were really
but
told what to do.
yeah,
Like, don't do that.
but you're going to learn conflict resolution by the environment you grow up in. And for me, I never saw any conflict resolution. It was a knockdown, drag out brawl. The police was coming. And so for me, I avoid conflict like the plague because I don't want that I know is conflict to happen right now. But in going through therapy, you have to be able to sit with your emotions, which I hate. And you have to be able to speak up because nothing gets resolved if you don't talk about it.
Right.
You can't share how I feel. You share how you
And
feel.
be able to hear it.
Yes.
So not listen to respond, listen to hear. And I'm one of those people, like, I was raised in a household with a whole lot of yelling, cussing, arguing. So for me, I think that's like my natural. I will argue the shit to death. And I will yell. Like, I'm a yeller, not necessarily because I'm mad, just it's just a thing. Like, and so I feel like you're right. Like, even I have to learn like the skill of processing first, not just defending myself. Like, and I think even when you have conflicts with people or holding a grudge, the first thing you want to do when somebody brings something to you is like defend yourself, not say, like you come to me, you didn't, I don't know, give me enough affection as a child. I don't know. Well, I had to work and I had to, like, instead of saying, you know what? Let me think about that. You're probably right. I could have. Instead, we feel the need to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
And like, I think this is like jumping from back and forth, but like when you walked in and you were talking about Elon and the president, right? Somebody got their feelings hurt, right? So somewhere somebody said something
Yes.
and now it's like tit for tat. Like, let me say something stupid. You say something stupid. Let's just like do this, right? Instead of if they probably would have sat down and said, so you see it at the highest level. And then you think, well, if two grown ass men that are very powerful people can't even have a regular conversation off the internet, how are we emulating to everybody else conflict resolution? People avoid it so much. Like,
Yes.
my daughter will get in situations with her friends. I'm like, just go talk to her.
No.
Just go talk to her.
No.
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 Maybe I'll send her a text in a few days.
In a few days, maybe, or probably not.
This could be resolved with convert, but
No.
I think people take it as like if people come and present something, people say, I don't like conflict. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a conflict. And I think people take that approach. I don't like conflict. I avoid conflict. Just because I'm telling you something hurt my feelings or bothered me doesn't mean, or if I've offended you, doesn't mean it's a conflict. But I think people take anything like that as a conflict.
Because it could just be a conversation. I've never thought about it like that.
It could just be a conversation. Like if you said, Megan, you really bothered me the way you said my shoes were ugly yesterday. I'm sorry, Tiffany. I shouldn't have said that. It doesn't mean it's a conflict. Now, if we start arguing and fighting, that's a conflict. But just expressing your feelings or what's bothered you shouldn't be a conflict. It shouldn't be. But I think people, like I said, go in being defensive. Yeah. And then I didn't recognize your feelings. And now you're mad and you're getting mad at me. And it just boils up from there. So I think you're right. Where did we learn how to have conversations instead of conflict? And most of us have not.
And rephrasing it, that it's not necessarily, like you said, conflict. It's just, I'm sharing with you something that I want to resolve.
Right.
So that doesn't become
I had that with a friend standing over there. And I said, I'm bothered by this. And it was like, just this. So you expect me? But I'm like, why are you getting upset? And why are you yelling? I was just telling you that this scenario bothered me. And as my friend, this is my expectation. And it just like well, I don't like conflict. This isn't conflict. I'm not yelling. I'm not telling you I'm mad at you. I just said my feelings were hurt. But I think it's hard for people to hear that.
Yeah. And especially if what they've witnessed or learned is conflict, especially like you said, loud. For me, that's going to send me into the fight or flight mode. And I'm just going to freeze. Like, he's yelling. Oh my God, what do I do with this? What am I supposed to say? I don't want this to go bad. So reframing conflict is just a conversation. I'm just sharing with you how I feel. Can we get to the bottom of it? But if you're going to hold a grudge, what is the reason to hold a grudge?
I think if I'm holding a grudge against something, I would assume in my brain, I feel like it's for me, I think there's been no acknowledgement. Like I've expressed to you, you don't care. We've not adjusted. I'm not saying you have to change, but we haven't adjusted anything. You haven't acknowledged it. I was dismissed. I'm going to hold a grudge because I'm going to be very frustrated. My feelings are hurt and I feel like not validated. And I think that's how friendships end. Yeah. I think that's how relationships end. Yeah. Because we haven't gotten that resolution. So then now we have a wall between us. How do you build a relationship with a wall between you?
You cannot. It's very difficult because I'm standing on my little tippy toes, peeking over
to my. Yeah. But stay over there. Don't stay over there.
Yeah. I'm not taking a break down.
Yeah.
I might add another one if you say something else to me crazy.
Yeah.
So that sounds crazy though if I say that.
Yeah.
That really sounds crazy.
And I feel that there's probably multiple people in our life. You could probably think who I have a relationship with, but I still hold a grudge. Like, that's how I mean, I know that we just said, but with
That's
my
true.
mom, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I think there's probably some random people out there I'm polite to, but I really have a deep feeling about.
Mhm.
So, like, and the thing that kills me is how people will go to social media or do things for clicks and do versus handling things as an adult. Like, now kids, I understand they don't really understand how to do things as much.
Yeah.
But kids hold grudges, I think, when they're younger because you have rules and guidelines. I think as they get older, they let that go. But if they hold on to that, that's something they need to address because what are you actually holding on to? Because I don't even know if some kids that become adults that are so upset with their parents, like, what is it exactly? Is it something your other parent told you? Is it something your brother told you? Is it really your own feelings? Because if it is, then I would think you'd want to fix that problem.
You would
Why
think,
would you not
but
want to, though?
because it's easier. The work to resolve the grudge or resolve the conflict is much harder than just holding on to it. Because now I got to face you. I
Yeah.
got to tell you why I'm mad
Yeah.
with you. And what if why I'm mad with you, you feel that is the stupidest thing ever. And then, like you say, there's no acknowledgement. I was just being a parent. Okay, so then we got to step back. Well, that's why I never said anything anyway. And so that's why I'm mad. And that's why I don't want to have a relationship with you. But the bravery I feel in conflict resolution and getting over your holding grudges, you just got to be an adult and say it. And it might not always go right. You still might need those adult boundaries to say, okay, I shared what I felt was wrong. I didn't get acknowledged. I still can be respectful and have a relationship with this person, but it has to be in this way so that I'm not re-hurt and get a new
Another
grudge that I'm pissed off
another
about
offense towards
because I realize you can't hold space for me to hear and see how this personally affects me to the point that you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna change.
yeah,
That's fine. Like
yeah,
my biological mother, I could not have a relationship with her. I loved her. I respected her because she was my mother, but because of the craziness I went through with her, we're not going to be best friends. I'm not going to call on you for help because I know you can't do that. For me, that was healthy boundary.
right, I agree.
Conflict resolution where I need to step up my game is probably with my husband because I still have that coping skill of just shutting down because I don't want it to get loud and out of control, and probably with my kids. But how many times do you say you're sorry?
Well, that's the thing, but I don't think that's what I'm saying is I feel like from the parent perspective, and I see a lot with Nick, if you've owned up and you've apologized and you've tried and you've worked on yourself and you've worked on things for years, it's not on you anymore. It's on the child. The child needs to come to terms with what is going to help them get past this. Do they just need to cut you off? Do they need to have a boundary? But like keeping in limbo or not at all when the other person is diligently trying, I feel like you're just wanting to hold on to it at some point.
Or you're just being a jerk.
Yeah, like you just want to hold on to it. You want to be able to hold it over your head. Well, you did this to me when I was a kid, or you weren't there when I was a kid. You're right. And I apologize. I wish I would have done things differently. I'm totally acknowledging and confirming everything you're saying. I'm trying to be there for you now. I'm trying to da da da. And they don't want to hear it. So then what? What is the objective for the child then? So I think that's at some point. And like you said, it can't be you treat me poorly and then you ask, like, I would never ask my mother for money. Okay. Because I know the relationship we've gotten to, right? I never have, but I wouldn't. And I think that you're right. You have to have boundaries then. If you want to keep me arm's length away, that means everything's arm length away. My money, my cars, my home, everything's arm length away. If you just want to have a casual conversation every Sunday, we will have a conversation every Sunday. But it's not fair for you to say, you did this, I don't like you, I have so blah, blah, blah. And then, hey, can I borrow money? Or hey, can you buy me a car? Or hey, can you, whatever, get me a job? Whatever it is. Don't use me and then not give me an opportunity to build a relationship
Yeah.
with you.
And that's what it feels like. Some people hold grudges in order to manipulate the person.
For sure, because you
To
have
stop
guilt.
it.
That person has guilt. I mean, when you have guilt because you know you did something wrong, it's easy to be kind of manipulated.
Yeah.
Like thinking, oh, if I do this one thing, they'll have a relationship with me. Oh, if I do this, they're going to have a relationship with me or they're going to talk to me. And then you do it, you see that you're 4 steps back. You're not even any steps
But
forward.
don't you think sometimes the person that has the the grudge can sense that, okay, if I hold this grudge against this person, then they'll do whatever I want.
Yeah,
Because
they'll take advantage for sure.
they really want a relationship with me. And then what does that person that I really want this relationship with this person, I know I hurt them, I'm trying to make amends. How much or how many times can they be manipulated before they should realize, okay, this person is
I
not
think they
being
could
nice to
be
me just because
I think
you
it
don't
could
give
be
a shit.
forever. I think they could be manipulated forever because as a parent, you want your child. So I think you could be manipulated forever. I think it's where you have to learn boundaries, healthy boundaries. Like, okay, I love this child. I want to try to do something, but I cannot pay or support or provide. Like, I have to put my own boundaries in. But I think a parent could go through it forever because you want a relationship with that child. But, and I think like, for you, you have most of your kids are still in your life, right?
Mhm.
So Nick, he has kids who have nothing to do with him. And so I think for him, it's harder to imagine even, what else can I do? And if they popped up, would he provide? Probably because he'd be like, oh, this is like they have. Hey, I need money for braces, or hey, I need this, or I need your insurance. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Or I need college benefits. Here's the information. Let me help you because he's thinking it's a door to a relationship, but it's not. It's a door to the benefit.
Disappointment.
Yeah, yeah,
Another disappointment.
yeah.
Wow. That's
So
really sad.
it is. So I think
That's really
like
sad.
I think at some point it comes down to the person. If I was a friend and I'm holding a grudge to you and you've done everything to apologize, you've tried to make it right and I'm just holding on to it, that's my problem then at that point. And it's probably up to you then to dismiss me as a friend if I'm going to keep doing that to you. Cuz to live like that is it's miserable.
It is very miserable.
Yeah.
And it puts the person, I think, in a state of depression or a state of, I'm questioning, who am I as a person? Am I a good person? Especially if they've dealt with trauma or mental health issues. They are really probably in the dark because if they're really trying, and every time they try, they get told, you suck.
Or remember you did this. Remember you did
I'm
this.
gonna stop trying. And for me, if I got a grudge against you, I come to you and I say it, and you don't acknowledge it. The first thing I'm gonna do is do some shit to get back at you.
Yeah.
I will cut you off. I wouldn't go on social media and air your dirty laundry, but I know people that would. But I'm gonna do something mean to you to let you know, okay, I tried. You didn't acknowledge me. You poo-pooed me away. That pissed me off. And so now when you
See,
call the next time, no.
right.
Freaking no. How
Right.
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the funny thing is once you start putting up boundaries, they're probably going to bail altogether. So you just have to be prepared for that
Mhm.
because, when we had boundaries and rules and then it was like, no, fine. F you, I'm out. So you would have to be prepared to give up that manipulation part. And then if you start putting up boundaries, they may disappear because now they can't get anything else from you. Because right now it's about getting things from you because otherwise they'd be working on the relationship. And I think I see that in all of like, you see it in friendships, you see it in our family, your family. Like, if they're not getting certain relationships, if they're not getting something, then they have no value for you. And that's not a relationship, and it's hard. I think, especially like if it's a relationship you've had for a long time, maybe a significant other, a friend,
Mhm.
but when it's your children, it's a very hard thing because they're your children, it's your blood, like it's different. But you see it with friendships too. If they don't get what they want, then all of a sudden it becomes a thing. And when we see that in public eye, and then you see it even locally, I just, we're not going to talk about the local stuff that we see. I don't understand. I don't understand people's intent to take things to social. And I think it's kind of funny because I don't think they usually get the response they're hoping for.
Oh, no.
And it's like, what are you really trying to get done here? Because in the end, I feel like you look stupid.
You're just embarrassing yourself and the other person.
And you're putting all your stuff. I don't get it. Yeah.
Understand that. Can we just do stuff behind closed doors? That's what my mother taught me. You don't air the dirty laundry from the house outside.
Well, it's never going to go away. People have screenshotted it. People have whatever. So like you think you're just venting or you're doing stupid shit. And then everybody has like their texting it to you. Did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see it? It's never gone. So like, why would you not just do things the adult way? I don't understand. And the bad thing is the youth sees adults doing this. So now the youth, that's where they're learning it from. So let me share my friend's text. Let me share this. Let me do that. Like,
so when we become friends again, because I forgive you, I didn't mean to put everything on social media like that.
it's gonna
Me and you
change us.
best friends forever. But the other people that are my friends know all the dirty laundry because I put it on social media and they still hate you.
Yeah.
So now I got to deal with, but no, me and Megan, we friends again.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, but
She did too. Right.
are you serious? You can't be friends.
As in reality, we would never be the same because I would never share anything with you in a text or anything that I feel that you would share.
No, no.
So
Absolutely not.
People who use you against you, I think, are just low. Why? I mean, you get mad at somebody and you see people post things and you're like, really? Like, you want to be, you're hurt people.
Yeah.
I mean, but
it's a true statement.
that's just,
That is a very true statement.
yeah.
So don't be airing your dirty
Laundry. Yeah.
A conflict can just be a conversation. Remember that. Conflict can just be a conversation where we're sharing. We're saying what we need to say to each other and not put it on social media. Anyway, guys, let us know in the comments what you think about conflict and holding grudges. And how many do you hold? How you got 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know. Anyway, we're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can get our episodes on YouTube. So let us know in the comments what you think. And if there's a subject you want us to talk about that nobody else wants to talk about in your family, let us know that too. Until next time, bye guys.